Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Alachua County School Board for December the 17th, 2019. We'll start the meeting. If people will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would like to introduce our Director of Fine Arts, Mrs. Diana Rollo, who will introduce our guests.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Clark, and district administrators. Tonight we have a special group here to share some holiday spirit with us. So we welcome the Meadowbrook Elementary School Chorus and their directors, Katie Malo and Clay Cobb. Mrs. Malo is in her 11th year of teaching and has been at Meadowbrook since its opening. And Mr. Cobb is a 16-year veteran teacher and is in his second year at Meadowbrook Elementary. The wonderful students you see before you are fifth graders, and they're ready to share some holiday cheer with us tonight. They will be performing This Holiday, Somewhere in My Memory, and Reindeer on the Roof. The board members would like to come down, have a seat. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Malo, Mr. Cobb, and members of the Meadowbrook Elementary School Chorus.
you, Meadowbrook. You were fantastic. Kids were We'll wait till the Meadowbrook children leave. We have several recognitions, beginning with National Parent Involvement Day with Dr. Karen Cole Smith, I believe, is going to speak. Is Miss Karen Cole Smith here? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, school board members. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening to recognize Parent Involvement Day. The research studies are true and have been confirmed that when parents are involved, their children get higher grades, they attend school, they have better social skills, their behaviors are improved, and they adapt well. And not only that, but when parents are involved at school, the performance of all the children at school, not just their own children, do well. And so regardless of family income or background, it pays off when parents are involved, and it definitely makes a difference. And so today, I'd like to honor Ms. Rashawn Flanders for National Parent Involvement Day, which is typically recognized the third Thursday in November. I'd also like to thank in advance Reverend Dr. Marie Herring and Mrs. Angela Terrell, who made the nomination. Ms. Flanders is a single mother of 2 high school girls, and she remains actively involved in the schools through volunteering, assisting teachers in the classroom, tutoring, chaperoning on field trips, support of the PTA and sports events. She sets the example as a graduate of the University of Florida, BA, and her master's degree that she will receive in December 2019. While she is committed to the academic success of her girls and was also honored in the past by the Florida Shelf Association for Outstanding Risk Manager of the Year, her greatest passion is to provide a secure environment focused on the growth and empowerment of her girls and all other girls in school and the community as they transition to womanhood. She sets the example of an involved parent, and I'm honored tonight to recognize her as she continues to make a positive difference in the educational and spiritual lives of young ladies in this community. She says, and they quote, "She is concerned with the development of the whole child and encourages the schools and community to do the same by seeing all children as unique, worthwhile individuals." And so we would like to present, on behalf of myself and Dr. Naima Brown, who is absent. We have been educators, myself 42 years, and Dr. Naima Brown for 25 years, and we thought it would be appropriate that we would join in with the national effort. This is the 24th year of the national effort of recognizing parents who are involved in their local community. And so we will present her with a cash award of $100 and a plaque that reads, Cole Smith and Brown Parent Involvement Recognition Award 2019, Alachua County, presented to Rashawn Flanders. And we also want to thank the school board, the faith-based community, and other churches who helped us in this effort. As a reminder, no matter what we do and no matter how many programs we create, if we don't have the parent involvement and the parent component, then much of what we do will be for naught. So for all of the parents who are in the audience, we want to give you a special thank you. And she is not just standing here being recognized just on behalf of herself, but she is representing many of the hundreds and thousands of parents in Alachua County who work hard every day, and they have the same dedication and mission that she has. They want all of their children to be successful. May God bless her, is our prayer.
I was told to say something. I just want to say thank you for the recognition. I'm just a behind-the-scene parent, and I just wanted to make a good impression for my children. My oldest, who came from Orlando today from UCF, and I'm just so thankful for the accomplishment both of them are doing, but my heart goes out to kids in general. So every parent has a gift, and I encourage all the parents that are active to continue doing what you're doing, and all those that don't know how to become active, just start somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cole-Smith. Mrs. Flanders, would you let us congratulate you? Thank you. Next, we are going to have a presentation by Rachel Debegar, the Catalyst of Change Grant winners. Mrs. Debegar is the Executive Director of the Education Foundation. Is she here? Yes. Sorry, I'm not looking behind me. There you are.
Maybe I do need your help too. Oh, here it is. Excuse me, I'm sorry. There we go. Hi, good evening, board members. Thank you, and superintendent. Thank you so much for letting us come this evening, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about some things that we've been doing through our Catalyst for Change program. As many of you may know, our Catalyst for Change program is a competitive grant program that we have with the Education Foundation that awards grants in between $2,000 and $5,000, generally to our local public school teachers. We do some things district-wide, but we're here tonight to talk about 8 programs that we recently funded at our individual schools. The flyer that was attached, and that's here on the screen, lists out the individual school and the amount of awards that we're able to fund this year. And then we also have a few pictures from different projects that we're able to support. And I wanted to not only congratulate all of 8 of the recipients, but talk about 2 specific projects tonight. The top photo, which is students at Terwilliger Elementary. Marie Valero, who is the behavior resource teacher at Terwilliger Elementary, wrote a project in conjunction with the Caring School Community Program that they're doing. And they'll be working with 250 K through 5 students on social emotional skills, And so what we were able to do is provide them the funds to actually purchase 10 round carpets for their classroom, so that as the students are doing their circle time in the morning, they're not just sitting on the floor, but they're sitting on the carpets. They can sit and talk to one another. They've actually already started this project, and we're just helping to reinforce what they're doing. And they'll be basically to be used as a community meeting space. So the goal of the project is to get the students to be connecting with one another and reducing some of the behavior incidences. And so they're hoping to reduce out-of-school suspension by 15% while increasing student social emotional skills in the classroom. So we're excited to see how that project progresses. And then we're also really excited to be able to support Idlewild Elementary. Their first grade team wrote an exceptional grant in conjunction with the James Patterson Literacy Challenge that they participated in over the summer. And what they really have learned is that being able to provide students with background knowledge in order to, when they're reading, to get excited and to understand the context of which they're reading. And what they're finding is a lot of students, if they don't have background knowledge, they aren't as successful readers because they're not necessarily interested or they can't make real-world connections. And so their project was all about how to help their students create background knowledge so that while they're reading, they can be more engaged. And so our project is going to allow them to take field trips to the places like the Santa Fe College Teaching Zoo, the Carson Springs Wildlife Conservation Foundation, the Cade Museum, the Harn Museum, and see the Butterfly Museum, Rainforest at the Museum of Natural History in conjunction with some of the literature that they'll be reading all year. They've tied to specific standards to help the students make gains. And so their goal, and that they're anticipating that their students will see a great achievement and they'll be positively impacted, and that their specific goal is that the 75% of the lowest quartile students will show learning gains from the first quarter aims to the third quarter assessments that they take. So we are excited tonight to be able to announce these projects. We've been making individual school presentations, as you can see, and just on behalf of our entire staff, I have some of our staff members here tonight, and our board of directors. We're really excited and pleased to be able to support our public schools in this way. So thank you very much for allowing us to come. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Well, you guys, I have 3 of our staff members here. We have Tia Brock, who's really the brains behind this operation. She's our director of programs and the head of our Catalyst program. And then Kimberly Anderson, she is a Take Stock in Children college success coach. And then Jordan Miles, who is our mentor coordinator and database specialist for Take Stock, and also our wonderful photographer. So thank you. Absolutely.
Great things going on in our schools. All right, we will have a, do you want to stand here for the TEDx conference? We have a very special presentation from a student at Eastside High School. Let me see, her name is Sirius Brown, and this was a TEDx talk sponsored by Eastside and Jose Alvarez, who was the director of the project, and so this is a very special treat, and I hope everyone enjoys it. We're going to sit down here and listen.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Jose Alvarez and I'm here to represent the best side of town, Eastside High School. And yeah, let's go. So I'm not the superstar here. We have Miss Sirius Brown. Come on, girl. This is our superstar. I just like to say I want my ceilings to be their floors. So any youth that I work with, everything that I know at 24, when they turn 24 years old, they're far ahead than where I was at 24 years old. So I'm not going to steal her thunder. She's going to tell you about herself. But I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Williams, who is here today. Can we give it up for him? I want to be like him when I grow up, so that's my role model. But serious, take the floor.
Right. Good evening. How am I perceived? Is it the way that I talk, the way that I act? Or is it the vibe that I give off that determines your perception of me? Because I've heard lots. Honestly, it's been plenty. And maybe a little bit more that I can handle. But contrary to popular belief and stereotypical belief, I didn't grow up thinking that I had to act a certain way to succeed in this world. I was always told to keep my grades up and stay out of trouble, never to go the extra mile or stand out. I think that was part of the reason why I was so free-spirited and open-minded growing up. I never questioned how people perceived me. I unfortunately got a reality check sooner rather than later, and this made my public school experience very hard for me. Whether it be kids cussing me out because I was too embarrassed to share my report card, or the constant taunting of my articulate tone of voice. I've struggled with this my entire academic journey. I'm Sirius Brown. I'm an 11th grade hybrid at Eastside High School. And me being a hybrid, I get a double perspective on the school because I'm in both IB and culinary. On November 9th of this year, not too long ago, I had the opportunity to share globally my experience as a minority in these programs. Because I know that the adversities that I'd faced in public school had made me who I am today. I'm incredibly thankful for the opportunity to speak on something that I hold so near and dear to my existence and my heart today and tonight with all of you. My environment at school has been a culture shock since the beginning. See, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I decided to join IB because it was spoken so highly for being diverse. Plus, it was a great magnet program. And I gravitated towards IB because I was already zoned for Eastside. My first day of school was terrible, per usual as any freshman, but it being terrible was an understatement. I was probably one of 7 black kids in my grade level. And the sad thing about it is that the demographic at Eastside consists of over 1,289 students. And of those students, 53% of us are black. Only 9.8% of those black kids are in IB. Despite the natural segregation that we have at Eastside, I can't just blame it on the programs that we have there, because it's in our schools, in our community, as well as the states. As a matter of fact, it's in our society, it's in our history, and most importantly, it's in our suppression. So what do we do? From what I've gathered in my public school experience and life, is that it's really hard to shake someone's idea about you. In the way you talk, the way you act, and how others perceive you. But it's so easy for someone to come up with that idea. And once we have it, it's really hard for us to let it go. When you think of it, the first initial social experience for my generation is school. But if our schools are lacking the diversity and integration that we need in our generations to come, then we as a society are already encouraging the future of our communities to be closed-minded, even more closed-minded than it already is. Which is why I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to be a hybrid, give my first TED Talk at Eastside High School on a global platform, as well as being a part of clubs like TED at Eastside that integrate both student populations, and even CLE Club, where we do community service with other like-minded peers, all due with the support of our administration. Despite being in different programs, we're all walking down the same hallway, eating the same lunch, taking the same courses, and also the same PSAT, ACT, and SAT. However, most of us are already bound by society and what they're telling us to be and who we should be around. But experience is power, and knowledge is power and experience. We are a nation, and we should take in all that surrounds us because it's ours to interpret. Not our parents, not our teachers, not our schools, and definitely not this society. I think that we should take the initiative in better integrating the programs at our schools, whether it just be for one day a month, 1/4 of a month, 1/4 of a year, and just a semester. Bring our grades together and brainstorm ideas to make our classes, our schools, our communities better. Possibly hold a Socratic seminar to discuss important and problematic issues, controversies, and ideologies. And not just for the better of mankind, but for the better of our students. There is strength on the east side of town, and people may see it as the shadow or the pit of Gainesville, but it's my home, as well as half of those kids there. Again, there is strength, power, and importance at East Side. You just gotta look. Again, thank you all, and thank you to Ms. Certain for inviting me tonight, and our community for listening.
Our next presentation is our Energy Conservation Awards. The various schools that have earned revenue as a reward for saving energy, and this will be presented by Mrs. Sterling Wood, Teresa Sterling Wood, who is our facilities person for energy conservation. So I guess we're going to sit down while you announce.
Good evening, Chair, members, and all you fabulous people in the audience that make this happen. This year, we have 17 checks to go out. Part of this is our Green Ribbon Schools. One of the things we're tasked with as a Green Ribbon School District is to reduce environmental impact and costs, reduce or eliminate greenhouse gases, improve water quality, efficiency, and conservation, reduce solid waste and hazardous waste production through increased recycling and composting, improve health and wellness, and effective environmental and sustainability education. We also earned this year, on the wall there, we have the 2017 to 2019 Gold Healthy District. There's 13 in the state, and we're now 1921 as well. And that's on district infrastructure, health education, physical education, health services, nutritious services and education, counseling, and psychosocial and social services, that's a tongue twister, healthy environment, and employee wellness, family and community involvement. Water data usage, the board has tasked us with tracking that now. The consumption for 2018-2019 was 94,840 kgals. So this is what the reports look like on the website, a little different than the energy reports. At the end of the presentation will be a slide with a link to all the pages. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, nationally, K-12 schools spend more than $8 billion each year on energy, more than on books and computers. So it really matters a lot that we're reducing that footprint. And I'd like to present the 2018-2019 Energy Savers. They'll be receiving a check. John Nix, Flossie Welch, the entire department and facilities, everybody works toward this. I'll have a few comments on some of the schools, but some of the energy savings is for new improvements that we've already made. Some of the high use is because we've had to run schools while things are broken 24 hours a day, but we're trending that way. It's getting better every year. Okay, we're going to start off with Duval Elementary. They reduced it 10.7%. Okay, their check is $4,250. Next one, Finley Elementary. They reduced it 2.1%. Their check is $2,100. The next school is High Springs Elementary. High Springs? Okay. They reduced it 1.9%. Their check is $2,100. The next school is Irby Elementary. 2.3%. Their check is $2,100. And a lot of these principals, teachers, staff, custodians, everybody's always calling and asking, what can we do next? Lake Forest, their reduction was 10.2%. Their check is $4,250. Next school, Meadowbrook Elementary. They're the top saver in the elementary bracket this year. Their reduction is 12.2% for a check for $4,250. The next school is Metcalf Elementary. Their reduction was almost a full percent. Their check is $2,100. And we encourage everybody to buy energy-efficient light bulbs, battery-powered lawn equipment with this money. It'll really help the schools in the long run. Newberry Elementary. Their reduction is 8%. Their check is $3,100. We put a whole new air conditioning system out there. Everybody's been working really hard. The next school is Talbot Elementary. Their reduction is 3%. Their check is $2,100. And Williams Elementary. Their reduction was 5.9%, and their check is $3,100. Now we're into middle schools. Bishop Middle School, 9.7%. Their check is $4,250. And we do have new chillers there now, so maybe we'll reduce some more. Fort Clark Elementary. Middle school. Did I say elementary? 1.2%. Their check is $2,100. Lincoln Middle School. Their reduction is 2.5%. Their check is $2,100. High schools. Buchholz High School. Their reduction is 10.7%. Their check is $4,250. And Santa Fe High School. Their reduction is 2.1%. Their check is $2,100. And Camp Crystal. Their reduction was 3.3%. Their check is $2,100. And Traffic Safety. Their reduction is 1.1%, and their check is $1,000. And I'd like to give a special shout out to the Teachers Lab and David Stanley and everybody that helps design the checks. He came up with this fabulous check design this year, and we really appreciate all the work they do. And everybody in the room, every teacher, parent, everybody that turns something off or makes sure we're doing a little more to save something in our environment. That's it.
Thank you. I'm just going to take a moment to recognize someone, Ms. Rose Ramos, the board secretary. She has worked for this district for 28 years, and we decided it was 42 years in school districts across the state, I guess Monroe County before she came up here in 1991. So she has served 10 superintendents, I think, by the time we counted it out, several dozen board members. But tonight is her last board meeting. She is retiring effective Friday, and she has lots of travels planned. So I just wanted to take a moment to recognize her this evening with the board because she does serve the board as, so Rose, come on down. And I believe your family's here. So her family surprised her husband and her, yes, Reuben, her husband, and Anthony and Christina. We're all going to miss Rose. I know that folks who call the district office are going to miss Rose because if she doesn't know the answer, she's going to find someone right away to get you an answer to your question. So we love you, Miss Rose. We are going to miss you so much. And the board has a couple of tokens for you as well. A picture that was drawn by our own Keith Brown, our head custodian here at the district office. She's been a part of that award and that recognition being given to a lot of different employees as they've retired. And she said she always wanted one of those. So we've done that for her to commemorate her retirement. So we will miss her and know that she's going to be enjoying retirement. Oh, sorry. All right. We rearranged the order of things a bit so that we could have our presentations first. But I would like to call for the adoption of the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. And the motion passes. We will now have the approval of the minutes of the policy workshop of November the 5th. Is there a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. McNeely and seconded by Mr. Hyatt. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And the motion passes. The next item is the November 19th Equity Update Workshop. Is there a motion to approve? Number 2. Oh, did I skip joint meeting with the City of Gainesville? That 4-hour meeting? Okay. Excuse me. November 6th, the joint meeting with the City of Gainesville. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Dr. Paulson, seconded by Mr. Hyatt. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and the motion passes. Next, finally, the November 19th Equity Update Workshop. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Hyatt,
Second.
seconded by Dr. Paulson. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. And the motion passes. Next, the minutes of the November 19th organizational meeting. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. It's been moved by Ms. Surton.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hyatt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. And the motion passes. And finally, the November 19th, 2019 school board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. So moved by Dr. McNeely and seconded by Dr. Paulson. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye, and the motion passes. Mr. Moore, do you want to have our public hearing now, which is long overdue?
Yes, please, Madam Chair.
Okay. I will turn it over then to the public hearing. Mr. Moore will present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a public hearing on the 3 proposed policy changes that were presented to the board at the November 19th meeting. They are the policies largely regarding school choice and zoning exceptions and student assignment to schools. I'm not aware of any comments that we've received since then. This is also a chance for anyone in the public that would like to comment on them. And I wanted to point out to the board that after the discipline committee met last week to discuss our categorization of referrals, because this policy refers to major and minor, the discipline committee would like us to still continue to use the 4 levels that we've been using that have been in the code for ages. And so it looks like we'll continue with that, and so I will probably insert for second reading, based on those staff discussions and the discipline committee discussions, a definition that major equals a level 1 or 2 offense and minor equals a level 3 or 4 offense, so that we're not changing everything for the deans and the APs and the BRTs and what they've been doing, but we're using Skyward's system a little bit more effectively and making it clear what we mean by a major or minor. So that would be coming in the second reading. It would just be a definition. Major equals level 1 or 2, minor equals level 3 or 4.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Moore.
then with that, I don't know if there's anyone here to speak on these 3 policy updates. Now's the time.
Anyone here to speak on the policy updates? Seeing none,
I'm
We'll
finished.
adjourn the public hearing and go to board member superintendent announcements. Mrs. Clark, please.
Thank you. Madam Chair, we've had an addition to our side here, long overdue, but we're glad that we finally done that. So I would like to introduce our student rep for this semester, the student representative to the board, Mr. Micah Page from Newberry High School. And he currently serves as the student body president. at Newberry High School and was selected by his peers to take on this exciting role for him. So we're very excited to have him on board. His mom is here out in the audience. And we're so excited that she's here. I am personally excited that she's here because I taught his mother in 6th grade. And we just realized that a little bit whenever I saw the name. I went, wait a minute, I think that's her son. And sure enough, it was. So we're very excited to have you on board and look forward to hearing from you. So did you want to just say a couple words to the group? I'm putting you on the spot because I didn't tell you I was going to.
I just wanted to thank my mom, my school, its administrators, the superintendent, and the rest of the board for this opportunity.
Micah.
Welcome, Micah. I think I saw Ms. Surton's light on.
Under board member comments, thank you. I'd just like to thank Ms. Sirius Brown, she and her advisors of the TEDx, Mr. Jose, and I can't remember the whole team that put that program on together at Eastside about a month or so ago, but it was a very good experience for me. And it was hard just to pick one student to come to invite because there were so many of them that it would have extended the board. So I kind of put 3 in a hat and pulled one out, and Sirius was the name. And I asked her, I reached out to her, and she was agreeable to come. I was quite moved by her TEDx that she shared with us tonight back then, and I hope that you all were as well, and that we would take what she said to heart. If you didn't get it today when the video is posted again, if we would go back and listen to it. It takes great courage to get up and to speak in front of your peers or just to do public speaking at large, but I thank her for coming out and sharing with us. Went to a whole lot of things, but I won't go through that tonight. But I want to thank Ms. Ramos for onboarding me. She was a big help, and I want to wish her well in her retirement, and good health and happy travels to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Surton. Mr. Hyatt.
Well, Superintendent Clark was mentioning her former student. I need to mention my student from 45 years ago, Rose Ramos, who was my student at Key West High School. Wow. We have a lot of memories from old Key West, and I don't have as many as she does, because she's a what's called a conch, which means you were born south of the Stock Island Bridge. It's been such a pleasure to work with Rose, and she is probably the only one that can understand my below average Spanish, but I do appreciate her passion of doing her job superbly, and that's just the way she is. So we're going to miss you. I'm going to miss you terribly, and thank you. Also, I wanted to thank our Director of Communications, Jackie Johnson, Assistant Superintendent White, and the entire Facilities Department for the very thorough presentation today. And equally, I want to thank the citizens who gave us a great deal of insight and concerns, and I think Dr. Paulson had on his comment earlier, he said that that was probably in all his years on the school board, the most informative meeting he's been to, and it was really, really good. So I appreciate the concern, the positive effort of wanting things to be best for our community and for our children. Also, I did want to thank the first graders at Irby Elementary for the wonderful holiday program. I believe since Ms. Surton is not going to list her program, she was also there, but it was if you looked up cute in the dictionary, you're going to see first graders singing. And also, finally, I wanted to say thank you to the city of Alachua for hosting us with a joint meeting in their room. We all enjoyed the really good sound system and and refreshments and all that, but I do appreciate that even with tough conversations, there can be civility, there can be a positive outlook, and so I do appreciate our partnership with them. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. I see Dr. McNeely's light on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say, at the end of our workshop this afternoon, I failed to mention Jamie Bell, and I hope she's listening. She's an engineer and offered many suggestions and recommendations for our Swing Possibly site. And so I didn't want her to think I ignored it. And she and I spoke this afternoon. I asked her to contact Mr. White, Mr. Coward, many others in facilities, and get her points over to them. So I just wanted to add that tonight.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Dr. McNeely. Anyone else? Dr. Paulson?
Real quick. It was a very good meeting we had with the city of Alachua, I thought. And it was very, the presentations from our staff of some of the schools, the city commissioners, and the people who spoke was very informative. And just like Mr. Hyatt said, I just blew it, first time I've done it in a few years. And this meeting this afternoon was a tremendous meeting. Our staff did a tremendous job. People had different viewpoints about what was going on, but it was informative. We needed to hear it, and they did a wonderful job of presenting it. And last but not least, Rose, you're unbelievable. And when I say you can't go, I wish I could back that up. But I wish you the best, and then travel. I know you love to travel, so you have a great time. Thank you for everything you've done. I know you've made my job a lot easier. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Paulson. I just want to echo the remarks made by my board members. We all love Rose, and we are going to miss you terribly, Rose. And anyway, I'm going to cry here. But anyway, we are done, I guess, with board member superintendent announcements, if there's nothing else. And we'll go to citizen input. Anyone can speak who would like to. We have allotted 15 minutes for speakers, and we ask that the speakers keep their comments to 3 minutes approximately. I have one person who signed up, that's Ms. Shanae Jackson. So come ahead.
As she stated, I'm Shanae Jackson. I am a parent that has a student over at Oak Hall, and ironically, I have a daughter at Meadowbrook. The chorus did a great job, but all I could do was sit and wonder, did we get to see Lake Forest, Ottawa, Rawlings, or Williams, their chorus? I also wanted to point out that one meal pays for chorus. But guess what? 75% of the black children in this county can't read, so they can't participate in chorus. So as we always come up here and we do the warm fuzzies, I'd like to always remind everyone, again, that 75% of the black students in 3rd grade cannot read. We got wonderful presentations from TEDx. We got a wonderful recognition from a mom who's finishing her master's. We saw Catalyst for Change grant winners. One thing was consistent. They all could read and read proficiently. So I'm going to state again, 75% of the black children in this district cannot read. My initial purpose for coming up here was to remind everyone that last month on the 20th, we sent the board an open letter with the community. The last count that I know of, there was 820 signatures. The deadline for that letter is the 20th of this month. We've not received a response. The city of Gainesville, the commission voted 7-0, and they wrote their own letter in support of our letter. So I'd like to put that on record for the people in the room. One thing that stood out tonight to me, that in all the years that I've been advocating and coming here, that I never realized until tonight, because we've been told over and over that black parents and black children get ignored is because we don't show up to these meetings. What I realized tonight is parents at Meadowbrook don't show up to these meetings because I know them. And it didn't dawn on me until tonight when I saw them that they don't have to show up to the meetings, and the best interest of their children is always decided when they're not in these rooms. Another thing that was just driven home, everyone was so appreciative of the comments of the parents at the meeting today. No parent that spoke looks like me. So yet again, representation is everything. 75% of the black students in this district cannot read. At the last meeting, we were told that there were 2 committees that us parents could actually show up to. Those were the Equity Community Advisory Committee. Parents focus on Equity Committee. We were told, instead of us asking for a community for oversight, that we could do these. We did some research. Those committees are by invitation only, and you have to be invited. Guess what? It's a violation of Sunshine Law. That statute is Florida Statute 286.01. So I'd like to finish by putting in an open records request, and I will send it tomorrow. I need Ms. Valerie Freeman's job description. I need the budget that she oversees. I need meeting minutes from those meetings. I need the sign-in sheets from those meetings. And I know that those meetings and those committees fall under the Sunshine Law because I sat with the Black History Task Force as we advocated for the African American History class. In every meeting we attended, it had to have meeting minutes and it had to be recorded in a sign-in sheet. I'm done now. Thank you. You all have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Yes.
Hi, I'm Carly Simon. I'm a parent, taxpayer, community member. I would also like to echo what Shanae has shared. On November 20th, we sent the open letter. We are asking for community engagement. The deadline is this Friday, December 20th. I think it would be a good gesture to actually respond to the letter, to demonstrate that you are interested in engaging this community. We actually have 844 signatures as of this morning. And like I did tell you, we did have the city commission who wrote a reflective letter that supported our point. Again, at the 3:30 meeting, I asked the board members to respond to who knew about the Westwood swing position before the email went out on October 31st. I appreciate that Dr. McNeely and Ms. Certain responded. I'm not quite clear if I had an actual response. If you could just say yes or no, that would be helpful, because I do find it, you are a board, 5 members, and we expect all 5 to be in communication and to have the same information. We elected 5 people to this board, not a portion of the board. Additionally, we also are expecting that the superintendent is collaborating and discussing these components with the board, because these are policy concerns. They do have financial implications as well as contractual, which are required in Florida statute. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simon. Anyone else like to speak? Seeing none, we will continue with the consent agenda, and I'll turn that over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I recommend that the school board approve the consent agenda as described in items 1 through 14.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Yes, Ms. Certain.
Superintendent Clark, for item B1, building livable communities, can you tell me what that is, just briefly? I think I know.
Tell me what number again?
B1, B as in boy, number 1. Attachment B, number 1, building livable.
Right, I'm going to defer that to Mr. White to be specific as to what that's exactly for.
I was wondering if it was related to
Mr. White?
impact.
B1 for building livable communities.
Madam Chair, this is our annual contract that we have with Dr. Bowles, who does our concurrency analysis and those kinds of things, and it would be also looking at impact fees. It is currently has submitted a proposal and is working on that. So this has been a normal annual contract and that's a service that we utilize.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the consent agenda? Certain, are you done?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. That's okay, your light's on. All right, we will go on then to the action items. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't vote. All in favor of the consent agenda? Aye. Opposed? Any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, we did that, I'm sorry. And the motion passes. Okay, I'm kind of, I had a water turnover on all my papers here, so. We'll go on to the action items. The first one is the administrative appointments. Mrs. Clark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This evening, I would first like to introduce Ms. Lisa Peterson as my recommendation for the appointment as new principal at Idlewild Elementary School. Ms. Peterson began her career in 1992 teaching students with disabilities in Bradford County, and then in 1993 took the same position in Alachua County, and then served in that role for 5 years at Newberry Elementary School and Bishop Middle School. In 1998, she came to work for the district as a teacher on special assignment, and she was the ESE Director's designee for eligibility staffing, compliance, and other issues for 15 schools, including elementary, middle, and high schools. In 2002, she was promoted to supervisor in the ESE department, and then she became an assistant principal at Westwood Middle School 4 years later. She is also an adjunct professor at St. Leo University, and she has served as principal of Stephen Foster Elementary since July of 2015. Madam Chair, I recommend the appointment of Ms. Lisa Peterson as principal of Idlewild Elementary School effective January 6th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Ms. Peterson as principal of Idlewild Elementary. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and Board and Superintendent. I truly appreciate the confidence that you're bestowing on me tonight to lead the Idlewild Elementary School community. It is my great honor and privilege to continue to serve the students and families and community here in Alachua County. My plan is to get going right from the beginning. I was excited to hear about this announcement, and it is going to be a challenge, but I'm really looking forward to it. Mrs. Wakely is leaving the school in an upward trend momentum, and I intend to continue that by building relationships with the community, the students, the teachers, continuing with the improvement plans that have been laid out for the school. And one of the first things that I intend to do is to build that trust by being fully present and fully committed to the success of every student there at Idlewild Elementary. So thank you again so much for your confidence, and I look forward to starting on January 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson.
Ms. Peterson, do you have family with you this evening by chance?
I do. I have my husband of 29 years here with me.
And then, Madam Chair, with that, I am pleased to recommend Ms. Wanda Wakely as principal at Stephen Foster Elementary. Ms. Wakely began her career as an elementary teacher in Alachua County in 1994. She taught at Wiles, at Littlewood, and also at Duval Elementary. In 2001, she became the curriculum resource teacher at Duval Elementary School and remained in that post for 5 years. And then in 2006, she became Duval's behavioral resource teacher. In 2010, she became the dean at Lincoln Middle School, and 3 years later, she was elevated to the job of assistant principal at Lincoln. And in 2014, she then took that same position at Santa Fe High School. And she has served as the principal at Idlewild since July of 2015. Madam Chair, I'm pleased to recommend the appointment of Ms. Wanda Wakely as principal of Stephen Foster Elementary School effective January 6th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam
Yes,
Chair.
sure.
I am so happy for Mrs. Peterson. I am so glad you accepted to move over and transfer to Idlewild. I have to say publicly, however, and if you follow the minutes and video of this board, I have stated publicly and to the superintendent that I expected Mrs. Wakely to be appointed to School I. However, the superintendent is recommending that she be transferred to Foster. We look for great things. I've worked with Mrs. Wakely for years and years, and it has always been a privilege to be with her. I know that she's going to have much success, and we are hoping that after you show your stuff there, that the request that I made will still be forthcoming. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. McNeely. Congratulations, Ms. Wakely, would you? I'm sorry. All in favor then of this?
You got a comment.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your light.
That's okay. I didn't put I was going to put it on when Dr. McNeely started, but I would like to say also, I have recently met Ms. Wakely, known her to be the consummate professional, and I am indeed hopeful that the switch would work out for both of you all. Ms. Peterson, I congratulate you on taking on the task of leading Idlewild, as well as Ms. Wakely transferring over to Foster, and I wish you both the best. Never good change in the middle of the year, and as Dr. McNeely said, I was hopeful as well that she would have the principalship of the new school, and that still could be done. Do good work where you are, and we'll be rooting for you and supporting you, doing whatever we can as a community to rally around both schools and to continue to support both schools. I was at Idlewild today, but we wish you much success, and I appreciate your service to the district. It was a hard ride from Bunnell. It wasn't hard going over there, but when we came back from Bunnell, Florida, after listening to that discussion, it was a very hard ride for me as a board member, and as a citizen, and I can't even imagine being a professional and standing up in front of in that particular auditorium and experiencing what transpired in that room. So, but I thank you and I commend you for how you handled yourself and you've conducted yourself with great professionalism and represented Alachua County well, and I thank you for that. Congratulations to you and all the best.
Thank you, Ms. Certain.
You have the public.
Public, I think, wants to speak.
Oh, okay. Mrs. Jackson?
And I'm back to speak, not that this changes what's going on this particular juncture, but what I'm about to say, I want on the record. It was made very clear that we all supported Ms. Wakely getting the position at School I. I want it to be clear that what happened at Idlewild and its performance was not just on Ms. Wakely. There's a whole turnaround team. We're still trying to figure out what it is that they actually do. What has not been said is Idlewild has the highest absenteeism in the entire county. What was not told is there are certain things that are written on paper that are resources that they're supposed to have that they don't have. So I hope that they get them when Ms. Peterson actually gets there. What has not been said is I'm one of the people who's going to School I. My child will be, but she'll be too old. It has been brought to my attention that the new principal at Lake Forest was assured that he would have that position, and that's why he agreed to come. And the reason that I'm stating is because if that happens, I want to be able to go back to this particular meeting that's recorded and state that that backroom deal was actually done. So this is not against the appointment for Ms. Wakely, because on its face, it is great for her to go to Stephen Foster, but we have a whole community of family and children that are reeling, that are in pain. You have people that revere Ms. Wakely, that work for her, that are trying to figure out what they're about to do. So this is even bigger than this Ms. Wakely. This is about the community that's left to suffer over at Idlewild in the middle of this transition.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Have we voted yet? No. Okay, all in favor then of this appointment? Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. Welcome, Ms. Wakely.
Thank you. To the board, Chair, Mrs. Roy, Vice Chair, Dr. McNeely, the other distinguished members of the board, to my superintendent, Mrs. Clark, Deputy Superintendent, Mrs. Jones, our district assistant superintendents and all of our district supervisory staff in their respective places, my family, my friends, colleagues, and all of my other constituents. I am humbled to stand before all of you and to accept yet another appointment to, I'm sure, at least as equally a spectacular place, special place as the one I am leaving. I'm leaving after 4.5 years at Idlewild. Those 4.5 years have been packed, filled with many learning and growth opportunities. I built many relationships there with adults and children alike. My students are who I will sorely miss the most. However, I have learned to count it all joy, even when falling into many varied situations, because I know even this has improved my patience, my depth of character, and that is working together to make me a better me. I look forward to adding to my 25 years of experience, more experiences facilitated by the many students and adults at Stephen Foster Elementary. I ran the fields and walked the sidewalks of that school during my youth. I know it will prove to be a fulfilling and gratifying time as I enter this portion of my journey. I've been dealing with much spiritually, emotionally, and mentally in the past month since Friday, November the 15th. I pray none of you have to deal with that type of turmoil. The worst part of it is feeling completely incapacitated, not being able to directly change a thing. I thank all of my supporters. I thank all of you for the prayers, the words of encouragement, the well wishes, all of the affirmations, even all of the negatives. Some negative comments were made about it, but I still count it all together to work on the behalf of the good. In my closing, and I had to write this stuff down because everybody that knows me knows I can talk. In my closing, to my superintendent, you be encouraged. Stay lifted. Your job is arduous. It's a heavy job. You get pulled from many different sides, and you get tossed about by many winds. Please know, trust, and believe that all things work together for the good of them that love God and are the called according to his purpose. All of your experiences should be channeled to build a strength of character. All of our experiences should be channeled to build strength of character. I stand before you again, humbly accepting this appointment. I'm grateful for another opportunity to work with the boys and girls in Alachua County under the direct auspice of Stephen Foster Elementary. Thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Wakely. Ms. Wakely, that was a very thoughtful speech. Thank you very much. Do you have anyone you'd like to introduce? Supporters, family?
Yes, my husband had surgery on yesterday, so he was not able to make it. But I do have my parents here.
Wonderful.
My mom, Gloria Trotman, my father, and pastor, Reverend George Trotman. I have my sister, Patrice Parker, over there. She teaches at Lake Forest. My nephew, who's a student at the magnet program at Howard Bishop. And I have two cousins there, Sheila Singleton, Carol, Ena, and my godson, who's in my sister's purse getting candy. He's right there, Tristan. And I have friends. I have, where my Idlewild family, I have Mr. Lopez, and I have Ms. Jones right here. I couldn't not mention them. And I know I have some other friends, close friends and supporters sitting here. I won't call them by name, but I do thank them for coming and showing up.
You are well supported. Thank you very much. All right, on to the next item. Mr. Purvis, employee case. Go ahead.
Sorry. Madam Chair, employee case 2019-20-49224 The superintendent recommends that the school board terminate the employee effective December 18th, 2019.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Certain and seconded by Mr. Hyatt. Any discussion? All in favor then? Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. The next item is Mr. Rella, the Resolution 2006.
Thank you, Chairman. Before I read the resolution, obviously this is kind of a big undertaking for our district. It's something that we haven't done in a long time in terms of issuing debt. I think the last debt issuance we had for new money was in 2009 for Meadowbrook. So I did want to take a second to kind of walk through the rationale. I know I've had individual meetings with the board, but I know there's probably folks in the public that maybe weren't privy to some of that information. So I did want to kind of take a second and just quickly go through the thought process. So in 2008, after the Great Recession, or during the Great Recession, obviously in terms of our capital funding, it's really based on the millage rate, which is based on the tax roll, and we saw those tax rolls shrink, just like every other district did. And what that did is shrink the pot of money, and when you think about the capital needs that we have as a district, the classroom space is obviously priority number one. And what ended up happening in our district and in most districts was school districts quit purchasing buses because in terms of the hierarchy of needs, it just wasn't there. In addition to that, we also had our millage rate cut. So there was definitely a big crunch on the capital budgets, and in Alachua County, like a lot of districts, the buses were on the chopping block. So what we've done is kind of looked at some data. Obviously, for those of you that know me, I'm very data-driven in terms of my thought process. So we really wanted to look at it from a data perspective. Obviously, we knew we were going to have to play catch-up in a major way since we went for multiple years without actually purchasing buses. Some things we looked at that were really drove the decision-making process. The average age of our yellow fleet was over 10 years old. And when you think about a fleet of over 200 buses that are running every single day all across the district, to have one, the average be 10 years old, to me was a little bit startling. That means you have a bunch that are over 10, and we know we had some that are, of course, under 10. The other thing that we kind of considered is due to the age of the buses, we had to maintain more buses because we know there was going to be X buses offline every day. So to that end, we have 140 or so routes and over 200 buses. So we had literally 60 buses that weren't necessarily, that were kind of over and above the actual route total, and that's really just due to the maintenance. We knew they were going to be broken down and otherwise in disrepair. And due to some of the, obviously the overall age of the fleet, the spending for a lot of those buses in terms of maintenance is significant. So that was kind of the issue, and we sat down as a team and looked around what other folks are doing around the state, and our solution was to purchase 80 buses, and that's kind of where we are today. To enter into a lease purchase agreement, which essentially is a financing over a 5-year term. Some of the things that we feel like this lease purchase really accomplishes is obviously by purchasing 80 buses, we're going to be reducing our average age of our yellow fleet from 10 years to 3 years, like overnight, as soon as the buses are purchased and delivered in the summer. And that would give us, according to folks that we've spoken to, probably the most modern fleet in the entire state of Florida, which of course would be wonderful. In addition to that, since we're not going to have as many buses broken down on a daily basis, we're able to reduce our overall fleet levels. So we're going to go from over 200 buses to 180. And that obviously saves a lot of operational costs in terms of the day-to-day maintenance. We estimate around $245,000 in savings just on maintenance a year. In addition to that, another thing we looked at is the fuel economy of the new buses. Our current fleet average for fuel economy is 5 miles per gallon for diesel, and the newer buses obviously are much more high efficient. And we're looking at going from an average of 5 miles a gallon to 9. Obviously, that's going to reduce our carbon footprint and all the things that's very important. But then it's also going to save us around $270,000 a year on diesel fuel costs. Also, by reducing our overall fleet level, we're going to save money from property casualty insurance of around $41,000. And of course, without having as many of the repair issues, we're going to be a lot more efficient with staff, address some of the backlog in the white fleet, and just be a much more efficient operation in the garage. Obviously, as the board knows, the operational savings is probably, those operational dollars are probably the most valuable resource we have. That's what we use to pay our employees and, address the board and superintendent desires to raise teacher salaries, to address equity issues and all the different priorities we have. So those dollars are very valuable. We estimate by going with this lease purchase, we'll save over $500,000 a year just in operational cost. It also, we're going to use it as an opportunity to get on a regular refresh schedule. So we want to get to a point as a district where we don't have to go out and purchase 80 buses at a time. We want to get to where we can purchase 25 a year, and we've kind of put all the purchases up on the graph and look at the average age. And by making this lease purchase for the 80 buses and continuing to make purchases, we're able to stabilize the average age of our fleet kind of from now for the next 15 years. And it's really going to help us from a budget standpoint, because we'll know exactly how much we need to spend every year. Obviously, another huge piece, and I think everyone on this dais would agree, we've really made transportation a priority over the last few years that this board's been together. And I think, this is another big step. When you think about a bus driver or a bus aide, they spend every day, so 180 days a year, they are in their bus and they're rolling around town picking up kids. And when I think about it, it's really their office. We all have our offices, but that is their office. And it's important that the working conditions be appropriate. And, it's the new buses have all the seat belts, they have the ACs, they have independent ACs for the actual bus drivers, and trash cans and cup holders and all the stuff that the drivers really find important. So that's another piece I just wanted to throw in there. So in terms of the loan itself, it's a 5-year payback period. The municipal tax exempt bond market and financing market is at a historic low right now. We've locked in a 1.75% interest rate, so the borrowing cost is extremely low. It addresses obviously a lot of employee concerns, saves operational dollars, so we really feel in terms of the district, this is really a slam dunk. So with that said, I will go ahead and read the resolution. Resolution number 20-06, a resolution of the School Board of Alachua County, Florida, authorizing the acquisition, lease, purchase, financing of certain school buses and related equipment as described herein, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of a lease purchase agreement, as well as providing for other administrative actions and approvals and providing an effective date. The superintendent recommends that the board adopts resolution number 20-06 as presented.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Hyatt,
Second, I'm sorry.
seconded by Ms. Surgeon. Is there any discussion on this?
I do have one comment.
Okay.
And I want to publicly state this. I brought this up when I had my meeting with Mr. Rella and Mr. White, in that my concern was we were purchasing 80 buses at once, and that would put them in the cycle to have to be replaced all at once. And so the one complaint that I heard, or not complaint, or the one knock I kept hearing about the 1990s bond issue is that all of the AC units, all the roofing jobs are all done on the same time schedule. So they all started coming and needing to be replaced all at the same time. So I was fearful that that would put us in the same model again, is that we replace 80 buses now, and then if they're replaced again in 7, whatever the replacement schedule is, if it's 5, 7, 10 years, I don't want us to have to go out and do 80 buses again, because we don't really know what the financial market is going to look like. We don't know if we're going to enter into a recession. I do think we need to purchase buses, and I made the statement to them if they thought about maybe cycling out and purchasing half now and waiting to do them, so that we don't have the whole fleet being the same age and having to be replaced almost at about the same time. When they're new, there's not any problem. I understand that they'll be under warranty, but that's my only concern, is that we'll have this large capital expenditure needing to be done, and we may not have the pot of money that we have now. We have the sales tax initiative now that's going to free up our $1.5 million take the pressure off of that, some for having to do maintenance, but if after this 12 years and we don't have that, or something happens unforeseen, we got these 80 buses that we replace right now. So I'm trusting that our Assistant Superintendent of Finance and the facility staff has given us good information, but that is a concern that I had, and I have to voice that amongst you all now because we met individually. You all didn't hear my concerns that I had. I had a whole sheet of questions that I asked them. So, but because we had one-on-one meetings, you all didn't get to hear my concerns, so I felt it important, and I mentioned that now, but that was the biggest concern that I had about this. I think the interest rate is a good rate, but I just think of us spending the expenditure now, we're gonna have to look and have that talk again all at the same time, because we'll have all of these new buses that may need to be replaced at the same time.
Thank you, Ms. Certain. Mr. Hyatt.
I wanted to thank Assistant Superintendent Rolla, Assistant Superintendent White, Mr. Hackett, and the whole team that put this together. I think, solving a problem, addressing a problem, when we have a good financial climate, is a chance that we're not guaranteed. And I think that as much as Assistant Superintendent Rolla said, that we've been concerned with transportation, I think this is a really good opportunity. I appreciate the time taken, obviously with each board member, and so just wanted to go on record as personally approving it.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. Dr. McNeely.
Madam Chair, I too need to say something publicly and to my colleagues, because we had individual meetings, and so you wouldn't know my thoughts. I have spoken to the Director of Transportation, Mr. Paul White, who is Assistant Superintendent of Operations, and Mr. Alex Rella, the Assistant Superintendent for Finance. I don't think I included the Assistant Superintendent of Personnel, but maybe I should have, because it has to do with individuals who work in transportation. One of the things that should be known, that will be on the table for January, hopefully, a purchase of property over on 53rd Street, next to the Civia Center. And when I met with those individuals, colleagues, I told them that a vote for more buses, even though we needed them and even though our fleet was subpar, we have to think about all of the people, not just the bus drivers who we love dearly, but all of the people who work over at the compound. So I'm thinking that this property, because we were taken on a tour back in 2016, some of you were on the board with me, by Dr. Owen Roberts, and we looked at the facility there and compared it with our current facility. Well, let me tell you something. The buses are important because we use them to transport children, and they are our largest group that we need to be concerned about. But when we have employees who are over at the compound working under severe limitations, safety, and everything. If you've ever gone to our transportation compound and looked in that garage at where those employees have to work on the big buses, and they are as tight as sardines in that room, and at any point could be hurt or whatever, I said that I would certainly want to help with the buses if we are going to help with this situation at the compound. And so meeting with Alex Rella on yesterday, I found out that we are going to be moving the physical distribution. And public who is listening right now, I'm sure you don't understand anything I'm saying, nor do you understand what Mr. Rella said. But I'm saying this for the boards, to understand what we are up against. If you're going to move physical distribution in that first phase, and maybe some years later, do something, because you have moved physical distribution, and maybe you can put the garage over where that was. We cannot afford to wait on people's physical self who might be sacrificing. Then we'll have a larger bill, colleague, because if we have a liability situation where those employees cannot do their job sufficiently or get injured in some manner, I'm just saying, yes, we need more buses, but I'm here to tell you, Mr. Rella and other colleagues, I don't think 180 buses will do it if we are going to do swing schools. You're going to need many more buses to transport all these children from here to there and back. So I'm saying, please take a look at what we're doing and possibly rethinking about the purchase of that property on 53rd Street. Not only should the physical distribution be moved, but think of our employees who are mechanics and work in that hot garage, and I've been in there many times. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So I'm here to tell you that if we're voting on all these buses tonight, that we should be making the purchase of that land and making sure that the first move would be the people and mechanics who work on those buses. And yes, we have given a lot of money to transportation, but there are other people who work in the compound. Some of them are here tonight, and we need to think about them too. I'm now speaking to you, Mr. Purvis, as human resources. We need to think about what they do, what they entail, and all of these people we've hired this year for transportation. It's been a big amount of money. So I had to say that because I told the assistant superintendent, I don't know if I spoke to Ms. Clark about my issue, but I certainly told him, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the direction that we are going to. So with that, I thank you for listening. Hopefully we will get all of the buses that we need, but I didn't want the public to think that I'm all for these buses, and when there was a contingency about the purchase of that property and for what it was going to be used for. And unfortunately, I don't think that's the norm or that it's going to happen.
Thank you, Dr. McNeely. Dr. Paulson?
It's been a while since I talked to you, but this lease agreement, they take the maintenance up for these buses, right?
Right, so
I mean, that's important, and that's going to free our mechanics to do other work. If I remember the
So the
meeting.
purchase includes like a bumper-to-bumper maintenance, so it's any kind of big repair exclusive of your normal stuff like tires and lube and oil changes and whatnot. And Matthews buses will actually come up to our facility and fix any kind of transmission or.
But it frees our other mechanics.
Right, so
I asked you because I was worried about their jobs.
Right, so there's no one is certainly losing their jobs
But they'll have-
in this
they
plan,
won't
but
be working.
what it's gonna do is allow us to be a lot more efficient. I know for the white fleet, the facilities, vehicles, and food service, and all of our non-yellow fleet rolling stock, since the priority is getting children to school, the yellow fleet gets a priority. So what happens is, the white fleet, the maintenance vehicles, when they need to go in for repair, they tend to be in a little bit longer than we would like. So what it's going to do in terms of our human capital is allow us to be a lot more efficient. When stuff comes up, we don't have to pull those maintenance vehicles offline for weeks. We can address it immediately. And to save $500,000
And you put some of that
conservatively.
away, you can redo your buses. That's a pretty good amount of money. Say in 5 years, you got $2.5 million.
Right, so the overall cost of the interest is over $400,000. And that's, paid out of capital, and that's over the 5-year loan. And the estimated operational savings, which we think is very conservative, is $500,000. So, if I'm going to give you $500,000 a year, and you only have to invest $423,000, I think that's probably a pretty good financial decision, if you're following me.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry that I had to put my light back on again, but I wanted to just emphasize that the savings, the operational costs, and all of those figures that you have given to us tonight, Mr. Rella, it should never be compared to employees' safety. The operational costs that we're saving here and for what you plan to do with it, it should never be levied against employees' safety. That's all I'm saying, and I want it to be in the record in that manner.
Okay, Dr. McNeely. I will just say that I think most of us agree that the working conditions in transportation in that garage are pretty bad, appalling, really. And it's hot, it's crowded, the buses are bigger than they used to be when the place was built. I, for one, feel very badly, but we do need, for them, that is, but we do need these buses desperately, as Mr. Rella has said, that will save us so much money that can perhaps be gone to improving the facilities for our workers there. So, if there's no other discussion, do we have a motion and a second? Yes. If there's no other discussion, all in favor then? Aye. Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. All right, the next item, Project School Board A1806, Mr. White.
Madam Chair, Project SBAC A1806, Prairie View Elementary renovation and code upgrades, guaranteed maximum price. Superintendent recommends that the school board accept the guaranteed maximum price of $4,447,479 for construction of this project and utilize it in the existing construction management contract with Charles Perry Partners, Inc., Gainesville, Florida. Substantial completion shall be May 19th, 2020. Final completion will be on June 16th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. The motion passes. Next, the bid award. Mr. White again.
Madam Chair, bid award project H1804, AQ Jones HVAC replacement buildings 1, 2, and 3. The superintendent recommends that the board accept the low base bid of $1,331,000 and the additive alternate number 1 in the amount of $34,000 and award a contract for construction totaling $1,365,000 to BH Builders, Inc., Newberry, Florida. Completion of this project shall be within 180 consecutive calendar days from the date indicated on the notice to proceed.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Hyatt.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Paulson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes 5-0. We're now at the second citizen input, and we had Ms. Ann Kotuba,
That's already been done.
Dr. Kotuba.
Good evening. My name is Ann Koturba. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Clark. Tonight I wanted to address The equity plans 2 committees that have participation with the public. One of them is the Equity Committee Advisory Committee, ECAC, and the Parents Focused on Equity Committee, PFEC. I attended the Equity Plan workshop in November, and I heard loud and clear that the school district cannot do this yourselves, that you need community input, that you need community involvement. I have a stack of emails here starting in October trying to clarify who gets selected for these committees. Because I think that one thing that was said at the last meeting is that, oh, just come, you can just come. Well, I have a communication that says that they're invitation only, that you can come to the one on November 19th, where we have 3 minutes of conversation allowed per citizen. I don't know where minutes, apparently there have been 2 meetings since the equity plan was approved in September of 2018. I believe that there have been 2 meetings each for each one of those committees, but I can find no record of how the members of either committee were selected, what went on in the meetings. I know that in your equity notebook you had some transcripts of goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, and some input. That's the only written thing I've been able to find for either one of those meetings. So just to summarize, I don't know how the people are selected. I don't know what happened at the meeting. There appear to be no attendance lists recorded, and there's no minutes from any of the meetings that I can find. And we're not invited. Most of the public is not invited to these meetings, except for the November 19th meeting when we each had 3 minutes each. So I am asking, I know that you don't respond. However, I'm tired of asking. I've asked multiple times via email. I have an email chain of this communication. I know Superintendent Clark got involved in one of the communications, but I still don't know this stuff. And I think the citizens deserve to understand this. And I would like an answer to those questions. If I can be any more clear, I would like an answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Katurba. Is there someone she could speak to, Superintendent Clark?
Yes, Ms. Freeman is out right now, but I can have her reach out.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and the next speaker that I have a form for is Mrs. McGraw, Diane McGraw.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Excuse my voice, I've been fighting a cold. To our Vice Chair and to all of y'all who are serving. I was unable to make it to the last meeting on November 19th because I was at my own kickoff. But because this is, as you all know, very serious to me, being part of this process, which I've been, I took the time to go back and look at the video, replay it, and I was astounded by some of the things that I heard. Of course, my heart was broken to hear the community crying out with such passion and being relegated to unimportant voices falling on seemingly closed ears and minds. Some of the words and phrases I heard were prejudice, social neglect, inequity, oppression, unity across the district for the betterment of our children, ending the racial divide and working to fix the system, lack of integrity, moving in the wrong direction, unfair use of the time on the mic, and we won't change. While watching, I also saw board members apologizing to the community for the behaviors of district staff and citizens calling for an apology from a board member because of what has been called demeaning and aggressive behavior. I stand before you disappointed yet filled with hope because finally people are showing up and seeing what is behind the mask. 3 years ago, I'm now the former chair of the Political Action Committee. I told you all, asked you all to be honest stakeholders. I told you all things were going to get worse in our school system, especially when it came to behavior, and it's getting worse, and how we need to have systemic change, and that needs to happen immediately. Your lack of attention to the issues of failure plaguing this district has brought people together like never before, and for that I am thankful. We are no longer allowing our differences to separate us. We can't. We can't continue to allow differences to separate us. We can't look at each other as enemies, but we must begin to work together. If we want to see our schools more engaged, becoming more successful, children graduating feeling empowered to enter into this world. It is time to think outside of the box, engage people who can help us, and put students back at the core of our decisions. We no longer have time for pride, tradition, and replacing the old with more of the same. If we want to end this crisis, we must have change. If we have been doing if what we have been doing was working, we would not continue to fall at the bottom in many areas. Our data shows us that. We need to get students to fall back in love with school again. We need to pay the people who welcome our children every day a living wage. We need to provide safe environments where teaching and learning is possible. And we need to make sure we have the right people make the right decisions with the money we do have so our students can remain the only priority. We need change, and we must have change now. Voting is how we make it happen. Voting for people who are aligned with the status quo will not guarantee that you will have change. It's time to change the atmosphere of our school system. We are in a crisis. I don't know if you realize what's happening in Gainesville. Gainesville is becoming more and more unsafe. As a former probation officer, if we don't make sure kids are educated, they can become into a life of crime. Then it makes us unsafe. I will wrap up. But I want to make sure that you understand I'm about change. Also, I just want to congratulate Miss Wakely. My heart goes out to her. I know her personally, and I hope that this will be the right move and that we won't have to be in these situations anymore, because it not only affects her as a principal, but it affects all of the people who are part of that school.
Thank you, Ms. McGraw. Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Again, thank you to the board, superintendent, for having us here today. I enjoyed the earlier.
Excuse me.
Michelle Hazen.
Thank you.
I was here for the earlier meeting at 3:30 and walked out of here a little, kind of a little concerned about the state of affairs. I haven't attended too many of these meetings, and walked back in to see these children singing, and that was lovely. I got to see West Side School, Meadowbrook, with a lack of diversity there. And then I was followed up by Ms. Brown's poignant TEDx talk, which personally brought me to tears. She talked about the lack of diversity in her own school, and you could see it firsthand when you compared the two groups. It is something that we see again and again as an East Side resident that really supports this East Side in every way I can. I have to say that the way that we're looking at these facilities, we also have to be looking at the infrastructure. We should be insisting on diversity in our schools. We have a whole segment of the population, the neighborhoods in this downtown area. You're talking about busing here this evening. We have a walkable community of students that are unable to walk to their school because this school board, or maybe the existing school boards in the past, have not done enough to protect our neighborhoods. We are here now, and we are in crisis. And yes, education over incarceration all day long, until we do a better job of meeting somewhere in the middle. We have an opportunity. I appreciate Dr. McNeely proposing that alternative school sites are explored. We need to do that. I heard a lot of NIMBYism this morning. Not in my backyard at Westside, not in my backyard at Citizens Field. I think I was the only one that came up and said, how about this? Definitely, this was my neighborhood school until it was taken away in the 70s as a racial move, because it was one of the we were going for a 70-30 racial breakdown in our schools, and this exceeded it, 60-40. We're naturally diverse because we're urban. And I'm hopeful that my community of people can come together with everyone on this side. We are ready to contribute as a community to learn to teach children how to read. 75% of third graders aren't reading. That's insane. So as a community, I am a parent that's willing to do this. And you know what? This elementary school, if it could become that, instead of sending the $4 million or $5 million on modular schools that we are just going to toss in the trash, Let's put together something permanent. Let's involve residents like myself. Let us get into these schools and make a difference. We're asking for it, and we'd like to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hazen. Anyone else like to speak? All right. Okay. We have now board member superintendent requests. I see Mr. Hyatt's light is on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had 3 requests. First, we do have a board member retreat coming up in the last week of January, and I'm requesting that the equity plan be a subject of significant discussion on that meeting. So that would be a chance for board members to discuss their understandings and what they would like to see and what we feel is working very well and what we feel isn't working. So I would like to suggest that. And my second request, if the governor, Mr. DeSantis, has thrown out a proposal for a minimum salary, and I guess it's a good thing that the governor is thinking about salaries. But I would like, between now and our meeting next month, to come up with a resolution where that we can share with our legislative delegation and this district go on record as supporting, yes, supporting higher beginning teacher salaries, but absolutely having the backs of our longtime teachers. We can't have a 15-year veteran making the same money as a beginning teacher.
Or less.
And I know that when I started teaching, my first full-time job, it was in 1973. My salary was $8,000. You know, $8,000 in 1973 money is about the amount that the governor is proposing. So that would sort of get us back to where we were in 1973. So, but and we also have to have the backs of our ESPs. So we cannot throw our veteran teachers under the bus. We cannot throw our ESPs that do so much work to make our district successful. And we can't further diminish home rule. Tallahassee, you know, it's not just schools, it's municipalities, it's counties. And allocate the money and let the local government, local elected officials negotiate how we spend it. So hopefully we can come up with that and something that's going to be positive for our employees. And my last request, and I'd mentioned this in the fall, but I'd like to move ahead on this, is the idea of a 6+1 schedule in middle school. And maybe this could be done in all middle schools. Maybe it could be a pilot project. But the idea is that if we have 7 classes and they meet 6 periods a day, so every 6th day, you're going to have one class doesn't meet. And the idea is it's going to open up opportunities for expanded arts more kids can be in band, in visual arts, in drama. And it's also going to give a chance for more remediation for kids that need it. But the kids that are having remediation need to be full citizens. They should be able to be in band. They should be able to be in chorus. And some districts are doing this, so I'd like for us to look into this seriously. And of course, we have to look at the money as well. But I think doing it this way would be a lot less money than a straight 7-period day. So anyway, that's it for me, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hyatt. I think Ms. Certain was next.
I did have one request, but I emailed Mr. Roloff about it. It's related to the equity slide that Ms. Clark, you put up at Mabane at the joint meeting in Alachua. I wanted to just get some detail for that, but I'll just email him for that.
Okay. Dr. Paulson?
Yeah, I'd just like to remind people, on January 13th, the Florida Education Association had a statewide tour with their bus. They're having a rally in Tally. About 18 years ago, we had a rally in Tally. But this one, they're aiming for 50,000 people to let the governor and our legislature know they're serious about us funding public education. If you want to, you can call ACEA. I asked us to get together with ACEA, Superintendent Clark, and work with them any way we can. September 13th is the day before they open up the session.
January.
Did I say, what did I say?
You said September.
September, January, thank you, Ms. Surton. January 13th. And that would have made a big difference, wouldn't it? So anyway, they're looking for a big crowd, and let people know what we think, what you care about, your public education of your children and the way they're getting funded. So you can call ACA, I'm sure, and you, anyway, they got buses. We talked about it at the labor dinner the other night. They were signing people up, and they were behind it. I hope the rest of you would like to go. I think it's a great experience to go up there and see what's going on in Tallahassee. Just think if 50,000 people did show up in support of our children. It wouldn't be bad, would it? So try to be part of it. That's it for me.
Thank you, Dr. Paulson. Dr. McNeely?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am so glad that colleague Hyatt brought up the retreat that will be at the end of the month in January. I am hoping that the superintendent will meet with each one of us to get other recommendations and suggestions. The retreat is only scheduled for one day, unless we're going to have 2 days, because there are a lot of things that we need to have on the agenda for our retreat to help improve us, to make us better, to help us learn different things, and that what we need to do as strong board members for the School Board of Alachua County. So I'm hoping that each of us will have due process to be able to say what we think, and if we need to have 2 days, then we need to do 2 days. My next request is that I would like to have science kits, and my phone just went off, I had it in my phone, science training kits used for students in after school and science parent nights and other activities. Our own Mr. John Nix, who is an energy conservation specialist. He's so quiet and he never says very much, but I know that he does a lot for the students here in Alachua County dealing with science. Now, the kits only cost $150, so the superintendent may say, why don't you just buy it for him? But I would like more than one, possibly, so that we would have them at different locations and that he would be doing the training. I don't think many of us knew that Mr. Nix, who's sitting right here in front of me, can do all of that. We just thought he was a facilities person. But he's an engineer, and he wants to give of his time beyond his day, 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, I don't know what it is, but the nights and after school in which he uses the science training kits. And the last time I looked at the Alachua County data, many schools would benefit from this service that he's offering to give. So I'm hoping that you would listen to my request.
Can you send me the information on these
I
kits? I'm
will.
not sure what you're talking about.
I will. I know you not, but I will. But they are only $150, and I will send you that information, how many we need, and what he would be doing with that those materials. Okay. And then I had another request, but I don't see it. It's all embedded in my notes. So what I'd like to say to the persons who are still with us, and especially our newest board member, Student Representative Micah, this was a long night. So from now on, do your homework before board meeting. All right, and so happy holiday to everyone, however you enjoy it. Please get your much-needed rest. I'm looking back there at our security person. Get you some rest, because we'll be back, I think, on the 6th or the 7th. And to our deputies who always protect us and walk with us to our cars at night, thank you very much for your time, and happy holiday to all of my board members, our attorney, happy holiday, I didn't fuss, and to Ms. Peck, who is now the newest person upstairs with us, happy holiday to you, Mr. Purvis, Mr. White, and Mr. Rella. On this side, Ms. Jones, Attorney Moore. Did I say it? Okay. Ms. Ramos, we'll see you Friday morning. And to our superintendent, happy holiday.
Thank you, Dr. McNeely, and I second everything she said. Everyone have a wonderful holiday and a good rest, and we'll see you in 2020. Thank you.